Oh,
Okay, I think we're live.
yes, we are. I think so. Oh, my.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the first meeting of the Hogsmeade Literary Society. Thank you so much for coming. Before we actually get into the show today, I wanted to just take a moment to acknowledge the really difficult time that we're going through in the U.S. and also all over the world as we mourn the lives of Black Americans that have been lost. So I wanted to take a brief moment of silence to honor those individuals. All right, so thank you so much for taking that moment. And with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. So I thought this was our first live show that we would just introduce ourselves. So I will go first. I'm Sophia, obviously. I'm on the channel. So I read a huge variety of different things, but I think mainly adult fiction, some young adult fiction, and also mystery thrillers. And on my YouTube channel, I make the classic booktube content. I do vlogs and monthly wrap-ups and reviews. So yeah. And Mary, do you want to go ahead and go next?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I am Mary from the channel Mary Among Stories. Usually my favorite types of books to read are classics, fantasy, and historical fiction. On my channel, what I upload the most are reading vlogs, and I've actually recently stopped doing like monthly wrap-ups and everything. I'm trying to do more dedicated reviews to certain books and do like recommendations videos and everything. So yeah, I think that's basically it. What about you, Hillary?
Hi, everyone. I am Hillary from Melted Books. I'm sorry that my channel name isn't displayed on my name banner there. I messed up on that. I like to read all over the place, kind of like Sophia. I read a lot of fiction, YA, contemporaries, some historical fiction, thrillers, a little bit of horror. I just try to mix it up. And on my channel, I do a lot of kind of the classic book food stuff. I like to do tag videos. I do some journaling videos, wrap-ups and TBRs, all that classic content. I don't really do a lot of vlogs, but I'm working on that. And now Sarah.
Hello. So yeah, I'm Sarah from Sarah the Dreamer. I mainly read fantasy. I do also read a lot of contemporary, sometimes historical fiction, some mystery. So just like a lot of stuff, but mainly fantasy. And I also do pretty much like typical booktube content on my channel. I do some vlogs. I do a lot of wrap-ups, TBRs, stuff like that. So yeah.
All right. Thank you, everyone. So I wanted to start, I think some of you guys know, but for the format for this meeting, we're going to start with a non-spoiler section. So we're just going to give you guys a brief like synopsis, like what you would find on Goodreads or on the Inside Flap. And then we're all going to go around and give our ratings and our non-spoilery thoughts. So we're going to start out with that, and then we'll move into all the spoilery stuff later. And we're plenty of warnings, so if you haven't read the book, you don't get spoiled. So I think generally, and feel free to jump in, guys, if I miss something. Generally, the book is about two sisters. At the beginning, they don't really know of each other. One lives in New York City and one lives in the Dominican Republic. And then kind of at the beginning of the story, their father passes away in a plane crash. And the plane crash is actually based on a real accident that happened in 2001, a plane that was going from New York City to the Dominican Republic. But these characters are fictional. And so it's really kind of an exploration of grief of these characters and also of these sisters kind of finding each other. And then a couple quick trigger warnings. There is sexual assault and harassment in this. Also plane crash and like loss of a parent is definitely discussed, human trafficking as well. So that's kind of generally what the book is about. Mary, do you want to start with your rating and kind of what you generally thought of the book?
Yeah, sure. I was just telling the girls, I just finished the book. Actually, I listened to the audiobook, which I highly recommend. It is an amazing audiobook. I am still debating on my overall rating, but I think I am sitting on a 4 stars. For me, it was a pretty great book. I loved all the themes it explored. I loved the message. I loved the sisterhood. I think what these characters went through was so powerful, and I really liked reading about that. I did struggle a little bit with the pacing because I think, I don't know, there were some scenes that I think could have been impactful if we did take some more time building them up, I think. But I will get more into it on the spoilery section, I guess. So yeah, what about you, Sarah?
Well, overall, I rated the book 5 stars on Goodreads because I listened to it in like one day. I started listening to it on my commute in the morning, and I finished it at night. And it was just like a whole experience. So I definitely loved it. And like you said, Barry, the narrators for the audiobook are absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
There are 2 narrators, Elizabeth Acevedo, who is the author, obviously, and also a second narrator. And they're both so great, and they deliver that story so well. And it just flows, and it's incredible. And I just love all of the themes that it explores. I love how it talks about feminism and family and racism, and it was just completely powerful. So I absolutely loved it. So yeah, give it 5 stars.
Great.
What about you, Hillary?
I think I'm in agreement more with Mary about it being a 4-star read for me because of the pacing as well. I think that some things could have been a little bit more developed for me, and the dual perspective of both sisters, I feel like a little bit was sacrificed on each end.
Yeah.
Because they had to flip back and forth. So we didn't get full development of one or the other. But that being said, I still think it was an amazingly powerful read. I loved the themes, and the exploration of the theme of grief in particular, I think was really impactful.
Yeah.
All right, and I also gave it 4 stars. I adored it. I got so attached to these characters, and the writing was like kind of a journey for me because I don't read a lot of books in verse. So when I started reading this, it was like something totally out of my comfort zone. But I just started falling in love with like the symbolism and just like the beautiful descriptive writing. I think where it fell down just a little bit for me, and I don't know if this is like an unpopular opinion, but I felt like the 2 sisters kind of had similar voices. So when I was listening to the audiobook, sometimes I would like forget who we were talking about or like which chapter we were in. I don't know like exactly what that was, but I just felt like they had like a lot of similar personality traits, and so that was where it lost a little bit for me. But I love the writing, and I'm definitely going to pick up some more of like her backlisted books and her new releases.
Yeah,
that she has such a beautiful way with words, and yeah, it was.
Yeah,
Definitely.
this was my first book by her. I've never read anything else by Elizabeth Acevedo, but now I really want to. Yeah.
Her books are great.
Have you guys read The Poet X? Because I know that's one of her more popular. Okay. How did you guys feel like it compared to The Poet X? Did you like it kind of the same, or that one more? Were they pretty different?
That one is another verse book. I don't know if that's is that Elizabeth Acevedo's style across all of her books? I really don't know. But that one
I'm not sure about like her middle book. Like there was one about cooking, and I can't remember. I know it has the word fire.
Yeah, the fire on high.
In verse or not.
I don't know if that one's in verse.
I don't know either.
Thank you. Someone put that in the comment. Thank you.
Thanks, Christine. But yeah, I don't know if it is on verse. I haven't read that one, but compared to the Poet X, I don't know. I love them both like kind of equally. I definitely feel like the Poet X explored different topics. Like it talked a lot about music and about like it was not as much about grief. It was also about like how different the main character was compared to family, and it dealt with a lot of family themes as well. But it was definitely different. So like I don't even know if I would compare them because they're like so different, in my opinion.
I agree. Yeah, they are very different, but amazing. Both of them are so amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to read it.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
Yeah.
Also, Sophia, I just wanted to make sure before we move to the spoilery section to mention the links in the description box below.
Oh yeah, I'm so sorry. I forgot to mention that.
Yes.
So yeah, so with the moment that we took at the beginning to talk about the Black Lives Matter movement, I also put a lot of links in the description box with petitions and GoFundMe's for George Floyd's family and some other information that you guys can check out. So make sure you go down there and check out all those links. Does anyone have anything else they want to add about those? I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that.
Okay. I think I sent you the master thread that I found on Twitter. Did you put that on there? Yeah. Okay. So down the master thread that you can find in the description box, there are a lot of smaller organizations as well that are not getting as much money as others. So maybe consider if it is possible to donate to those as well, and sign all the petitions. Donate all that you can. Everything matters. So everything that we can do, we have to. So
definitely.
Yeah, I would check that out.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. So are you guys ready for spoilers? Any more non-spoilery things you want to chat about?
I think we're ready.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do this.
Let's do this.
Okay, so for the spoiler section, since it's our first time, I made a little jar of questions. These are all over the place. And we're going to start with these. We might just go on tangents, so we might not stick to the jar, but we're going to. So let's see. Okay. So we actually we kind of already talked about this one, but is there an author that Elizabeth Acevedo reminds you of? Or is there a book that if you really liked this book, you would like? Like, you know those videos where people are like, if you like this, then you should read this. Is there one that came to your mind while reading this?
Oh,
I know.
That is a hard question.
Yeah.
I thought about, which is kind of random because this author does not write in verse. But I felt a little bit of Angie Thomas in this.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
It felt really genuine. Like, I felt really attached to the characters, and I kind of feel that genuine kind of writing style from her too. And also in the last Angie Thomas book, there were poetry rap sections. So that was my one that I kind of thought of. But
yeah, me too.
I think that Elizabeth Acevedo is so unique in the way that she writes and in the way that she talks about those issues that for me it's hard to find something that another book that would be similar. I'm really trying to think, but I don't know.
Sometimes people are just so unique that you can't possibly put them in another category because they're their own. They have
definitely.
Yeah, I don't read a lot of contemporary or anything, so I do struggle a little bit in thinking about something else that reminds me of this book. But my first thought was Angie Thomas, maybe because of the themes as well.
For sure.
So Sarah Crossman.
Okay.
I've never heard of that author. That's very
Super interesting. I'm gonna check it out.
Interesting. Yeah, me too. Okay.
Okay. Next question. I feel like I'm
oh, I love this. Yeah. Like a show. Yeah.
So this one's interesting. So this one is rate the first sentence of the book. So I know some of you guys listen to it on audiobook. So I'm not sentence for you guys.
Yes, remind please.
Oh my gosh, this first sentence. Okay, so the first sentence is kind of simplistic, but I love the first part of this book. So the first sentence, I know too much of mud. So this is the part.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So sentence maybe for me it's a 3.5 or a 4-star, but the first page I adored. I just found that all the different ways she talked about mud super interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It sets the tone perfectly to the entire book, I feel like.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I feel like, you know, yeah, it definitely sets the tone, and also it reminded me a lot of like the magical realism books that I've read in school, that I studied at
Oh,
university.
really?
Like, especially like those the Caribbean authors, like how they talk about their life on the island and all of that. Like the way that they talk about, yeah, it immediately connected me to that literature, and I was just like, whoa, okay, we're starting so strong. Like, it was just, for me, it's the perfect like first sentence for that book, because it makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I think yeah, for me, just for a rating, I guess I would say probably around 4 out of 5. I love how it immediately evokes a sense of the setting. And
Yeah.
Camino is the one who says this. So we're in the Dominican Republic, and I did see a clip of Elizabeth Acevedo saying that in her writing process, she really wanted to write about the wet season in DR. And so I feel like by mentioning mud, that she really succeeds in that, like instantly. First sentence,
yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
For sure.
It is.
I feel like with the verse style, like the verse writing style, every sentence matters, and you can really tell that she put so much thought in every single sentence of that book. So the fact that she chose that one, even if you don't necessarily connect the dots instantly, like as you're reading the book, you're like, okay, this is significant. Maybe I don't know how it is for now, but like it will be eventually. And this is something that I really love in books, like when they choose those words so carefully. Just so interesting.
Another thing I love about her writing is I feel like the breaks in between the lines is very like intentional too. Like sometimes we'll stop after one point, and I'm like, if she would have changed it and stopped after a different word, there would have been a different meaning. And I feel like she wrote this verse so well to get her feelings across and get the story across.
Definitely. Like,
So,
when you're listening to the audiobook, she makes those stops, and it's not necessarily the same as seeing it on the page, because word placement on a page is like very important. Once again, I studied that in school. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
So, you know, like the way that she reads it in the audiobook, you can really tell those.
Yeah, the audiobook is amazing.
Feel those breaks, which is
very
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, maybe it is a bit of a controversial opinion, kind of. I don't know. I did struggle sometimes with her writing style, because I feel like she writes like she's talking, I guess. And that's not my favorite type of writing style, but I can also tell, like you were all saying, that everything she puts on paper has a meaning to something else. And I really like that. It's almost metaphorical, I would say. And Christine is even saying she liked the way the islands interacted with the story. And that's what I mean. Like, I think everything she writes has something behind that. And that's something that I really love, even though I did struggle a little bit with her writing style. But
And I think, like, and I think that's why, like what you were saying, like she writes as she would speak it. I think that's why the audiobook was so effective for me, because it felt like just like she was like to us, and I thought that was really well done.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what we have here. I did this on Post-it notes, so they're all like stuck together. Okay, so the next one is lingering questions. So were there any things at the end of the book that you felt like didn't get wrapped up, or things that you wanted more exploration of, or maybe things that she left open-ended? Maybe.
I mean, I feel like it is definitely an open ending. I feel like we can all imagine different scenarios of what happened next. Overall, I liked how the story wrapped up, but like I was saying in the non-spoilery section, I did struggle a little bit with the pacing, because there were some scenes that I wished were just more developed, like Hilary was saying as well. Like when, for example, the two sisters met for the first time. Even in the video chat, and they were talking about their skin color and their hair, and now how it is very obvious that they're sisters and everything. I wish we could have had a little more of that. I don't know if you guys have felt the same, but I thought it was just too quick. And while it was impactful, I didn't feel as much for them during those scenes because they were just so fast for me. So yeah, that's my main complaint, I guess. What about you?
Like,
What do you
I
think?
wish.
Oh, sorry. No, go for it.
I kind of wish that they had met like a little bit earlier in the book, or that there was like more when they were together. Because I really liked those scenes, like when they met at the airport,
Yes.
Yeah.
and when they were seeing each other's lives. I was like, I want more chapters like this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I think like lingering question of like what their relationship would have been if they had developed it more, or like if we had seen them after the end, what would their life have been like? Would they have got along? Would they have not got along? So yeah, I think that that's kind of one of my lingering thoughts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right, because for almost the entire book, we are leading up to the point where they do finally connect and they're together. And I think, Mary, you were spot on when you said that there's just something missing. Like when they're having that initial discussion, you want more. And it was, to me, it seems like during the scenes when Elizabeth Acevedo had fewer words describing what was going on, it just implied that it was less important to the reading experience of the book. And I didn't like that. I didn't appreciate that. So yeah, I wanted more.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like definitely I would have loved to see more scenes of them together. Like that would have been really, really nice, because I did love the end portion of it more, because they were together and they were like seeing what they mean to one another and all of that. It was super, super beautiful. But also I feel like the story is also kind of like how they find each other, and also how they find themselves separately, how they deal with that grief and their situations, which are very, very different on their own, and then they come together. So I think that it was definitely important to also show them apart for a big portion of the book, because it is basically what it is about. But also, I do think like if they had met a little bit earlier on, maybe we would have gotten more of those scenes that I really did enjoy at the end. So
yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And I feel like too, like there was I feel like when they first met each other, there was some kind of like bad blood a little bit. Like they were like thrown into knowing each other, and they lived their whole lives apart. So they didn't really, I think they were struggling with that transition. And then there was that scene at the end when Camino goes to, I always forget his name, but she basically runs away. And the sister comes after her. And it seemed like that transition was like very quick. Like it went from not getting along to like this sisterly love. And I think part of that like was realistic. Like they kind of had a bond, but you didn't always get to like see it develop. Every scene develop throughout the book.
Yeah. Well, I feel like at first they are kind of hesitant to talk with one another and love each other, and they kind of have a little bit of resentment towards the other. But also I feel like it's very, very clear that they're like, I want to be angry at her, but it's not her fault. Like I can't be angry at her for that, because she is just basically in a situation that is very different, but also similar in certain ways to mine. So I feel like, yes, there is misunderstanding, but it is also very, very clear that they're just like, I have a sister, and I have somebody that I can take care of, and that who can take care of me now. And like, I have a new member of a family that I didn't know existed, which is like wonderful, and also obviously very complicated. So I did really like, I feel like the fact that at first they're not too sure, and then when this tragic thing happened and the Camino runs away and Yahira comes and saves her, I feel like that was super realistic, because I have two sisters, and even if I'm angry at them, or if we have a misunderstanding or whatever, I'm going to be the one running to save them. Like, just like there is no question of that. So that is definitely a scene that really, really moved me personally, because I was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Definitely what would happen to. So I love that. I love the fact that it was very ambivalent and they didn't always know how to feel towards one another, but when it really mattered, they were there for each other. Like that was a part that really, really, I really, really loved it.
Yeah, I feel like they were just projecting their grief towards one another and didn't know exactly what to feel because they had just not lost their father, who was this person that had a secret life, and then suddenly they have a sister. Like, it's a very weird situation. So yeah, they were just projecting their feelings in a way, I think.
Yeah, and that was very realistic.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think so.
Yeah.
And also, like, even when their father was alive, like, they had to deal with the fact that I think, like, Camino, whenever her father came home, was like the most exciting day. She would go to the airport, look forward to this day, and she realized that part of the reason why she didn't get to have this always is because she had to share him with another family, and so she was kind of going through that too. Like, that was the reason why she didn't get to be with him.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Okay. Next, we kind of talked about it already, but pacing. Like, I know, Mary, you said that you had some problems with like the pacing of the book in general, but kind of what were your thoughts about when things happened? Did things happen too quickly?
Yeah, that's the thing. I think everything went by so fast. I don't know if I wanted the book to be longer or if I wanted some things to happen sooner. I'm not sure, but yeah, that's the thing. Some scenes were not as impactful to me as I wish they would be because of that. That scene you were all talking about, it is one of my favorite scenes. Like when Yahara goes and she goes defend her sister, that's amazing. It is one of my favorite scenes. But that's the thing. It was a very quick transition between not talking to each other and not really knowing how to behave towards one another, and then suddenly they protect each other with their whole heart, which is amazing, obviously. But I don't know. I feel like their relationship had so much more to explore. Like they were discovering this whole other different life, and they had such different cultures and everything. And I wish they also explored that part a little bit better because, you know, they are completely different countries and different cultures and different backgrounds. And I wish we had a little bit more of that, I think. So
yeah. Yeah, I agree. I feel like I don't know. I feel like the perspective was good in a lot of ways because you needed like both sisters' perspective. But I just wanted like more from each. Like I wanted everyone, and like I just wanted that much development for each of them because I felt like both of their stories were super, super interesting, and so
exactly.
Maybe we just want a sequel about their life in New York.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I
would be hyped for that.
Yeah, I would read it. But yeah.
That would be so cool.
Yeah, but at the same time, I like the ending. Like it is a bit open, but I think I don't know. It was the perfect ending for me. So I'm not sure if I would like a sequel. Actually, maybe a prequel. I don't know. But
a prequel would be good.
Going back to the notes about pacing, I thought it was interesting that the sections were labeled. I'm just looking at my book here. The sections were labeled with like 20 days after, 30 days after, 50 days after. So I feel like that helped with the pacing, but it still didn't quite fix this, like, I don't know, almost like a whiplash feeling that I was feeling where sometimes things were described in a lot of detail, whereas other things were just sort of very like, you know, glazed over and like, oh, okay, we're just going to say a little bit about this and then jump ahead to something else. So I thought that the labeling, though, with the time as it was passing, I thought that was helpful.
Sorry, I just want to point out that like Christine just wrote down in the comments like, I want Dre, like the girlfriend, because she's the best.
yeah, that's
like, oh my God,
more
we're gonna
Dre.
have to talk about her later. Like, I'm sorry, I just love her so much. I think she was one of my favorite characters. But like, to go back to the pacing and what you were saying, Hillary, I'm sorry, I just had to mention that.
No,
it was so funny. It's just so funny. Like, Christine, we all agree. She's the bomb. She's great.
Definitely. Yeah.
Oh my God. But yeah, I definitely talking about those like 2 days after 20 Days After. I really, really enjoyed that. That choice that she made to label those sections that way, because it really shows that there is a before and an after in their life. Like, it's before their father died and after, and that event really changes their life completely. And I really, really enjoy that, like the way that she made that very significant in the format of the book as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Another one.
So
I have
if you want
here
to talk
somewhere.
Oh,
Okay, I got picked authors other books, but we've actually already talked about that, so I'm gonna.
okay.
Okay, this is gonna get a little controversial.
Oh
But
my.
what disappointed you about the book? Was there anything you felt like really let down by?
Let me check my notes. Yeah.
Something that comes to mind for me is I wish that there was more integration of Spanish in the text. I feel like that is something that she might have done more in the Poet X. I could be totally wrong, but for some reason that's coming to mind. And I was sort of expecting to see more Spanish, and it was definitely there, but I wanted more.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's what I was saying as well. Like, we have two, they are such different cultures. Like, why didn't we get more about each one of them, including Spanish, exactly. Like, that would have been so great. I just don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's also the publishing, like those things definitely affect that, I feel like. I don't want to like assume anything, obviously, but maybe that's the reason why. But I don't remember if there was more in the Poet X, but I would have to go back and listen to it again.
Yeah, I don't remember for sure.
Yeah, but it is true that when there was Spanish, I really liked that. I really liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
My knowledge of Spanish is so atrocious that I literally had like Google Translate up, and I was like, "What is happening?"
Girl, I have no idea. But like, I wanted to learn. I was just like, okay, oh my god, like I need to know what she's saying right now. Like, it's I don't know.
That's the advantage of being Portuguese. I understood everything.
Wow. Oh my god. Your power.
Wow.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Was there anything else that really disappointed any of you, or like?
I mean, I feel like disappointment is like a strong word. Like, there are things that I would have been interesting to like see in a different way, or like my kind of feeling about the characters being kind of similar and me getting them confused sometimes. But I don't know if that's like so much disappointment versus just kind of like the choices that she made. But I feel like too, part of it was like the audiobook, and the voices were pretty similar for me, so I had trouble like differentiating whose voice we were hearing from. But yeah, I don't really feel like that was like a major disappointment or anything for me.
Yeah. I feel like because she would say like Camino or Yahira before starting the next section, I didn't find that to be an issue for me. But maybe that's also because I was just like sitting down in a metro doing absolutely nothing and just listening. Because I was really, really focused. But yeah, it is true that they had similar tone of voice though. So I can totally understand how you can be confused if you just like missed it for a second and you're just like, oh wait, who are we talking about again? So yeah, I definitely get that.
Yeah, I was also driving, so I was like, on the interstate, so I was like touching the wheels.
Yeah, you don't want to get distracted from that. Oh my god.
I guess another thing maybe is I would have liked some more backstory on their father's history. Like, how did he have two families? How did that work? And how did they not know? Because I was a bit confused. I felt like it wasn't really explained. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Maybe that, yeah.
Also, like Christine was saying, I would have loved more about the relationship between the two moms.
Yeah,
and
same.
I agree.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
People, basically, is what we're saying.
Yeah.
I feel like from Camino's perspective, like I kind of understood it, like he was sending money back to their family, but from is it Yahira? I never know.
Yeah,
I didn't really understand it as much. Like I don't think they developed it much from her perspective.
Yeah.
From Camino's.
Because I think it would have been difficult to hide something like that. So I don't know. It was a bit weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's definitely difficult, but I also like I've heard of that happening before. So
yeah, me too.
I definitely think that like
unfortunately.
I mean, of course, we're not doubting the fact that it happens, but
like more development, like to tell us what the characters thought when their father was away, or that like how it happened.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, okay. The next one is favorite part or favorite scene.
Oh,
okay. I know mine instantly. It's near the very end where I think they're chatting with Dre on a video call, and and Dre shows Camino the herb garden that she's preparing. That was absolutely my favorite part because it was such a small gesture of like utter welcoming into the home. I love that so much.
Try again.
Oh my god! You cried, girl.
Oh my god, I love that scene so much.
Yes.
Literally, like I think it's I was about to mention that scene too. Like it's my favorite scene, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's just it's so sweet, and like those small gestures in books are what really get to me. Like, and also in real life, just like they just I don't know, I just turn into a crybaby whenever like somebody does something just so kind. And so it happened, and I was like journaling, and there's just like this one tear that fell.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
it is so beautiful. Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah.
What about you, Sophia Mary?
I don't know if I have a favorite scene. I feel like some of the ones where they're like swimming in the Dominican Republic and they like describe like the father and like people just like jumping on him and him being this like fun little guy, and she said something like he's mine, like he's all mine, like she felt so proud of him, like that part just felt like so like pure for her childhood, like she was just so happy that with her. So I don't know if that's my favorite, but that was one that stuck out that I liked a lot.
Yeah, I like that a lot too.
Yeah,
me too. Yeah.
That one also the all of the scenes when Camino is swimming in the ocean. Those scenes are like so well done. Like when she's swimming and she's like, swimming is the closest thing that you can ever find to flying. Like those things. Like, so that whole idea was just so well done.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Mary, do you have a favorite?
Yeah, I mean, this is, I don't know if I would call this a favorite scene because it is a bit random, but it is one that touched me a lot. And it is when Camino's friend, I cannot remember her name, but she's giving birth. I can't remember her name, sorry. But she gives birth while Camino is trying to arrange everything for her father's funeral. And I just think it was such a beautiful but sad moment because what could have been such a happy accomplishment in someone's life was a bit ruined because of all the circumstances around it. So I don't know, it's a bit of a random scene, but I remember reading it and thinking about this girl just lost her father and now suddenly her friend is giving birth to this child and she cannot even feel happiness. I don't think so because of everything that's happening. So
It's also not a happy like birth because the baby being brought into the world too soon. So it's like it's a very, very dark scene, but it's also so significant. So I totally understand why it's definitely a very intense and very well done.
It's very intense, exactly. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites, but it's definitely one that stuck with me. After I finished the book, I was like, wow, that was powerful. Yeah,
definitely. Also, the scene when they all save Camino from that terrible guy.
Yeah,
Trigger
that's
warning
one of
for,
my
like,
favorites.
yeah, trigger warning for sexual assault. But yeah, that scene was so powerful. Like her Tia with the machete, I was like, yes.
Yes.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
it's such a powerful image too. Like, oh, it really hit me in the feels. I was so stressed out like the entire time. I was just like, please be there on time. Like, please.
Yeah.
It was terrible, but also so well done.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, a lot of emotion.
Okay, we can now fangirl about Dre because I just picked favorite character.
Definitely wanted more of her. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I agree.
I feel like when she described her garden on her fire escape and they were like, it's a fire hazard, I was like, if they make that, I am going to freak out.
Yeah.
It was so like pure and like happy, and I loved it.
Oh my god, I know. Also, the fact that she was like, when she's listening to I can speak. When Yahira is talking about her love of music and like she's listening to Nina Simone, I was just like, yes,
right.
yes.
Yeah.
It was just, I don't know, like she's just such a kind and supportive and great character, and I just love her so much. Like, she was just so pure. I love her.
Yeah.
I also love those scenes where it's like she knows like what Yahira is like thinking. She's like, I know you were gonna go to the dimension.
Yeah. That's adorable. Yeah.
We just know each other so well.
Also, I did not know that there was a female romance in this book. Like,
going into it, I didn't know either.
And like when we got into it, I was just like, oh, hello. That is even better right now. Yes. It was great.
I'm really glad too that they didn't feel the need to like, put a romance into the Camino plotline, because I was like, I don't want this to happen, but they like didn't really have a romantic interest there, so I was very fine with that.
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to say something. Oh yeah, her aunt also is such an interesting character, and I definitely wanted to learn more about her too.
More about her,
because she was definitely a character that I really liked.
Yeah, there was that scene where like when the baby was born, where I'm pretty sure it was the aunt, like gave the baby like some breast and breathing, and it's like the light came back in the room when it was okay.
Oh my god, yeah, that was so good. When
that whole scene, was
the whole
amazing.
Power went back, like, that was
Yes.
And it's like such a good metaphor too. Like when you're such small details that there are throughout this book that are just so significant, and that is why it is so well done. Like I love that part.
Yeah,
definitely. Also, I love the dynamic when the mom, Yahira's mother, arrived in Dominican Republic. Like I loved how like it was kind of tense, but also they were kind of trying to understand each other. I love that part too. Like the four of them in the same house. It really was.
I was like, this is gonna be bad, but then like it developed it really nicely. Like I felt like I understood like where everyone's coming from.
Yeah. Me too. I was a little bit worried. I was just like, oh, there's gonna be trouble or something. But like, it ended up just being like so well done, and just like the right balance between them not really trusting each other and also kind of trying to accept the situation that they're in.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Did you have like a favorite perspective, like between the two sisters?
Ooh.
I liked Camino's perspective mostly because of the setting of being in the Dominican Republic. I think that I just felt transported every time I read her sections. It was like I was there. Really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I can't choose a favorite. I love them. I feel like so like they had such important and interesting perspective, like the both of them, so I couldn't choose a favorite because they were both very, very important, obviously, because they were born in the book, so there's a reason for that. But
Yeah.
I think I like them both. I think Camino, like, I really related to her, like, desire to be like a healer and to be a doctor, because that's what I want to do. That's what I am.
That's
So I
true.
found that really interesting. But
Yeah.
other than that, like, I loved both of them. I thought they were both really well done.
Yeah, they're both great. Yeah.
Okay, so the next one, I don't know if you guys wrote this down, so like, it's okay if no one has one, but favorite quote.
I do have some actually.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I did listen to the audiobook, so I'm not sure they are 100% correct, but I'm gonna try. Let me see. Yeah, I wrote down right before they met each other. I think it was before like the video chat. I think Camino says, "I'm so afraid I like her. My heart can't handle any more relatives." Like she's saying. Like, you know, it was what were we talking about before, like how they were afraid of loving each other because of all this difficult situation, obviously. So I really felt for her during that scene, because you could tell on the one hand she wanted to love her sister, but on the other, like, she didn't really know how to feel towards her. So yeah, I like that one.
I wrote down that quote too.
Really? Oh my god. Amazing.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's so sad, but also just
It
there's
is.
a beauty to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so sad, but also so true. And also, you're just like, well, you're gonna love her, girl. Like you can't,
Yeah.
can't help it. Like it's gonna happen. But you also really understand like where it's coming from. So yeah, it was really really good.
Yeah.
One that I found I really liked is when she's talking about chess and about her father being like, you have to be a queen and all of that. And she's like, what I like about, well, this is not like accurate or whatever. It is what I can remember on the top of my head. But she says something along the lines of, what I like about being a queen is that you can kiss her hand and she will turn it into a fist while smiling the whole time.
Yeah.
Like something like that. It was so good. I really, really loved that. I was in the metro listening, and my mouth was like,
Yeah.
it was so good. I was just like, yeah.
True. Yeah.
It was amazing.
I loved all of the metaphors that were involved with the chess playing. I thought that was really
Me
clever.
too. I loved that. Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I found mine. Mine was actually a chess quote too. But it was,
Yay! I have some too. Yeah, you
it's
go.
also a page, but it's a short page. So it said, "You're in this square, and squares don't overlap. Poppy taught me every piece has its own space. Poppy taught me every piece moves in its own way. Poppy taught me every piece has its own purpose. The squares do not overlap, and neither do the pieces. The only time two pieces stand in the same square is a second before one is being taken and replaced. And I know now Poppy could not move between two families." That's kind of like where it ended, but yeah, I love that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's Also, I was curious about what you guys thought about the title. Did you know what it was talking about? Like when you heard like clap when you land, did you associate it with the?
I did. I actually did. Because that's something we sometimes do here in Portugal.
Me too.
So, yeah.
I had no idea.
And you were saying that like
Clueless.
sorry.
Sorry.
But yeah, so when it mentioned it at the end, because you know they say like, oh, in the U.S. they don't really do that or something. You hear us on the plane and the lady next to her say you have to clap when you land or something like that, and I was just like, but we do that, like,
Yeah,
it was not like something that was new for me, and I was really curious to know like if it was only like a Canadian thing or if other people did it too.
Yeah, we do sometimes.
I think I have been on planes where people clap when you land, but only if the flight is particularly bad. So I feel like at the end of it, the passengers are like, oh my gosh, yay, it's over. We're done. The pilot did a great job. Thank God. But so like for this clap when you land, do they do it every time? Even if it's a perfectly smooth flight?
I feel like before, like I used to hear about going on planes before I even went on one. Like a lot of people, obviously. And I feel like it's a thing that they did like a couple of years ago, but right now when I take the plane, people don't necessarily clap. But I feel like my parents, for example, they would tell me like people clap when you land because it's just a thank you to the pilots. Because
Yeah, it's a thank you, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it still happens that much right now, where I live or in the planes that I'm taking or whatever. But yeah, it's definitely a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea until I got to that part in the book, and I was like, "Oh, that's what they were talking about."
Really? That's so interesting. Yeah.
And it's like that meme when you see the title of the book in the book, and you're just like, "Hey,
Right.
Yeah.
oh my god." Do we have time for another question? We have 10 minutes left.
Okay. Do you want to do one more? Does that sound good to everyone? And then we can do
Yeah, sure.
any last thoughts you guys had.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What's it gonna be? Oh, I guess we kind of talked about this a little bit, but was there anything in the book that you found really surprising? Like you got to it and you were like, "Whoa, did not expect that was gonna happen."
Let me think. Well, I guess apart from the female-female romance, which I did happening, so that was great. But apart from that,
I think what Christine was saying in the comments with the having the balls to steal your mom's credit card and buy a plane ticket, I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I was a little surprised. I thought they were going to come to I thought it was going to happen, but I was just like surprised how it happened, I guess.
yeah, me too. I didn't see that coming.
It definitely takes a lot of thought. Yeah, it was definitely a very big moment. I was just like, "Whoa, okay, we're going."
And I was like, she didn't have any passwords on her computer or her credit card, and I was like, "How is
Yeah.
what is happening?"
Oh my god! But yeah, that was. Oh my god! When she arrived at the airport and the guy is like, "You need to sign authorization to go on the plane because you're not 17." I think was the age, and I was like, "No, no, 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 no!" And then it got there. So yeah, definitely there are moments that were kind of stressing me out because I didn't know what was going to happen. So those maybe are things that surprised me, but I can't think of like one single thing that really surprised me about the book.
I think, along those lines, just stressful scenes when they were going into detail about the remains of the dad, things that were found. I think that made me really uncomfortable and stressed out. So that was a little surprising to me.
Yeah. Sure. Also, did you know before reading the book that it was based on real events? Because I did not know.
I didn't know. I got to, I think it was the author's note, like at the very end of the audiobook. She was chatting about it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I had no idea."
Yeah, well, at the beginning, she says like she dedicated the book to the people who were in that plane that crashed. So I was just like, "Oh, is this inspired by something?" And I didn't know about it. And then we got to the author's note, and it was confirmed that it was inspired by real events. But that's very interesting.
Yeah, it's so
and also
sad.
very sad, obviously.
Yeah, very.
I think she said like in the author's note that it was like the second greatest loss of like American lives in a plane crash or something. Like it's really sad. All right. Do you guys have any last things that we didn't get to talk about that you really wanted to chat about?
Except for like gushing about the fact that this book is absolutely stunning. Like the physical like hardcover is absolutely beautiful.
Oh yeah, we need to do the cover.
Yeah, it is so pretty.
Hold on. So this like
gorgeous
side, and then this is like the New York City side. So
those
pretty
colors. Like, have you ever seen such a beautiful hardcover? I don't
think so. Definitely not like the dust jacket. Like so pretty.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So beautiful. I needed to share that. We needed to share that information. In case people didn't know. We always tell people. Oh my god. But yeah. Do you have any?
And then we're going to end with Hillary, who's going to be our next host, telling us
yes.
what it's going to be.
Yes. I don't have the book in front of me. But for the month of June, the next pick is Beach Read by Emily Henry. We've announced it on the Twitter page, so you can go check out the details there. But our live stream right now is scheduled for, I believe, June 28th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, same time. So please join us.
Yay! Is this is the 28th a Saturday or a Sunday?
It's Sunday.
Sunday.
Sunday? Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Woohoo! I'm so excited to read this book because I keep on hearing so many amazing things about it, and I can't wait. I can't wait.
Great.
I'm so excited. I'm a bit scared because I never read books like that one. So I'm a bit, I don't know what I will think
like
about
it.
Oh my God.
It's
But yeah, I'm
definitely
excited.
going to be interesting. Also, I think it's going to be kind of like a lighter read, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. That's nice. Yeah.
In the summer months, you just want like fluffy, light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. Funny stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Is that it? Any last thoughts? Last thing?
Well, I do want to remind everybody about the links down below where you can donate and sign the petitions and all of that. Participate, use your voice. So yeah,
Yeah.
down there,
Definitely.
down below to the people watching. I don't know how many people there are, but go do that.
Yeah.
Woo.
Alrighty, guys, we will see you next month. Thank you so much for joining us, whether you're watching live or in the future.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. Bye.
Bye.